Hi guys, welcome again to Barker's Barbecue. Today we're cooking pork baby back ribs. Alrighty guys, so we've got these out of the bag now. So basically these are what you call baby back ribs. There's two main types of pork ribs. You've got your pork baby backs, you've got your pork spare ribs. Now, baby back ribs are more characterized by a sharper bend in the bone. There's more of a curvature there. Whereas spare ribs that you'll see will actually have straighter bones because they come from more of like the belly section, whereas the baby back ribs come from more towards the back. So we're going to go through how we go about prepping these. So first thing we want to do is get rid of this membrane on the back side here. This is going to prevent your rub sticking and prevent sort of flavor penetrating through there. So what you need to get is some paper towel. So I'm just going to get rid of some of this fat up this end. It's all coming off by hand at the moment, which is good. You can see the membrane's got a lip here, just on there. So what you can do, use that as a start point. Now, use the paper towel to give yourself some grip and then just start pulling. Sometimes these come off in a nice, even way, sometimes not. This one's going to give me a battle, I think. That's all right. So what we'll do is we'll start from one side instead. Sort of push your thumb into there and then you start to get underneath it. And there we go, you can hear it starting to come off. Yeah, this one's going to be a challenge, this one. That's all right though. So use your paper towel as grip. You can see we're starting to make a gouge in there. Like I said, just try and get underneath with your thumb. Yeah, this one's sort of a bit weak. It's actually, there we go, there we go. Okay, cool. So now we've got a lot of areas where we can grip it. Let's use that paper towel. Okay. Now we've got one side here. Sometimes, like I said, these will just come off in one go, in one clean strip. Sometimes not, but that's what these videos are about. Sometimes it doesn't go to plan, and then you make it work. So there we go. So that membrane's all off there. As you can see, the paper towel really helps with gripping in that regard. So just have some of that on hand. So next step we're going to do is just give it a look over and just trim any sort of hard edges, because your hard edges are going to burn up and you know, they're going to be no good. So there's a big bit of fat just on this side here that you can see. So we're going to just try and get rid of the bulk of that. Just make some cuts just to get rid of that. Try and round it off as best you can. Because yeah, if you have any sort of thin straggly bits, they're just going to burn up and they're not going to be any good. We're not going to go too heavy on a trim on this one because, you know, we're not doing competition today. We're just doing your normal ribs. Flip it over as well. Check this side. As you can see, this end has got quite a bit of thin stuff towards this end. That's all just going to burn up. So what I would do is I'd stretch it out, just go to the middle of that bone and just get rid of that side of things. And then you've got, just get rid of this tag of meat here. That's basically about as far as I'll go with a trim of some home ribs. Not too crazy, just getting rid of all the thin straggly bits, getting rid of a bit of the fat. Want to expose as much of the meat as you can to the rub. And that's probably come and take a little bit off here. That's the thing with spare ribs. You've got a couple of different muscle groups that run along the baby. Sorry, not spare ribs, baby back ribs. You've got a couple of different muscle groups that run along. So you've got to be wary. Like there's a loin muscle on here as well that typically cooks at a different pace. So that's some of the challenges you face with these ribs, whereas opposed to spare ribs where they all tend to cook pretty uniform across the board. So like I said, not too much work on the trim there. Just going pretty light with that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get this rubbed up. So first thing we're going to do is use a slather. So I just got some mustard sauce here. just a bit, not too much, just to sort of rub around. Just get a bit of moisture on there, a bit more moisture than what's in the bag. Okay, so that side of things is good to go. So today we're using a combination of Lane's Sweet Heat for the rub and seasoning, and we're going to use Lane's Kinda Sweet for the sauce later on. So never worked with this combo before, but looking forward to it. I've heard really good things about it, so just going to get this all rubbed up. Nice generous coat on all edges. So the rub's going to give us a bit of heat. Obviously it's got a bit of chili in there for the sweet heat, and a bit more sweetness is going to come from the sauce. So let's just pat that in across that side, just so it nice and sticks in there. And we're going to go ahead and use this again on this top side. Nice and generous. Right across those front edges, and just press in those edges as well into the bits that have gone to the side. Press in the top. So what we're going to do is going to leave this for about maybe 15 or 20 minutes and go get our smoker going, and just let that rub sort of tack on and stick in. And we'll be back to stick these on the barbecue pretty soon. Okay guys, so we've got the Weber going with the snake method today. I've got it sitting at about 250 degrees Fahrenheit or 120 Celsius. So we're going to go ahead and get these on now, and basically directly opposite the hot stuff, which is over in this side. So that, as you can see, that rub's tacked on really, really nice. It's sort of soaked into it. So that's just what you want to see before you're chucking them on the grill. So just going to bunch these up a little. One thing that I do, you know, for a competition is you can bunch them up a bit, and it'll help you sort of find where to cut because of these grooves. But yeah, so we're gonna leave that as is for maybe about 2 hours, and we'll come back and see how it's looking after that. All right guys, so we're about 2 hours into the cook now. Weber's sitting at about 275 Fahrenheit, so it's crept up a little bit, which is totally fine. So we're just going to take the lid off and have a quick look and see how we're traveling. So as you can see, it's barking up quite nicely on this side, starting to sort of dry up on that side as well. As you can see, this side's a little bit more moist, so there's a little bit of ways to go before this side sets. So obviously, because of the heat being on that side, I think this side is barked up a little quicker, so we'll just give this a quick flip. So we'll expose this side to the heat this time, and we'll probably come back in around about half an hour just to check on this. It's still, so what we'll do is we'll just do a quick scratch test as well. So you can see when you scratch it like that, if the bulk of the rub sticks, then it's good to wrap. So we've still got some wet patches, so we're going to wait for this side to bark up, probably only about half an hour, and then we should be good to wrap. So we'll come back in a bit and check on it then. Alright guys, so it's been about 45 minutes since we last checked in on these, so we're just going to have a quick look at them now. So as you can see, they've really darkened up nicely. There's still a couple of little wet patches around the place, but it's about 70% there barked up. So it also has a little bit of variance on the temp. So we're probing at about 150 down here, whereas up here we're probing at about 170, which is fine. It'll all sort of even out with the wrap. So I'm good to wrap at this point. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this on the cutting board, take it inside, and I'll show you how I wrap these ribs. Alrighty, so we've got these on the cutting board now, ready for a wrap. So I've got some butcher's paper here that we're going to wrap them in today. So first what I'm going to do, I've got a couple of little dobs of butter in this little ramekin here. So just going to put some down on the paper first. Just a little bit, not too much, just sort of smear it across. Alright, so meat side down, I'm going to stick these in. So yeah, as you can see, they've got nice bark up underneath there. A little bit more butter on the inside here. Just run it across, just sort of try and get an even dispersion. It's going to melt and go across all the ribs anyway, but that's all right. A little bit more there. So what we're going to do as well is we're just going to sauce as well. A little bit of the sauce that we're going to use. This is that Lane's Kinda Sweet that I referenced in the start of the video. So a little bit on the outer side, so it can be sauced underneath as well. Cool, there we go. All right, so just first side up like that. This side up like that. Fold it forward like this. This side up like that. Fold it forward like that. Then we tighten everything up. 1, then 2. All right, so we've got our meat side down here. So we're going to put this meat side down. So obviously the curve is like that. So this is where the membrane was. That's where the meat is. So we're going to put this back in the grill, meat side down for about an hour, and we'll see how we travel. Alrighty, so it's been about an hour since we've wrapped our ribs in the butcher's paper. So we're going to go ahead and give them a quick check. So, see how they're looking. They're looking really, really good. So I think what we'll do is we'll just pull them out of the paper. And one thing I didn't mention before is that one good way to check on ribs and how close they are to done is just how bouncy they are. These have still got a bit of firmness about them, which is fine. So I'm hoping that's going to tail off with the remaining time we're going to cook for with the glaze. So let's get a bit of sauce. So this is just the Lane's Kinda Sweet. A good tip is that you just make sure your sauce is room temperature at least, because it gets nice and thin then, and you can just baste it on there. So and it stays nice and thin too. So just give it a good brush all the way over. You can also give it a pour as well, because it'll just run off the ribs. Just give it a nice coat. Just coat every bit that you can see that's dry, that little front section as well, all over it. Excellent. All right, so we're going to leave these in just a little bit longer to get a bit more tacked up and get nice and sticky. I'll just give these a quick probe before we do that. So right now I'm not really feeling for temp purposes. I'm just feeling for like tenderness. These are a tiny little bit tight up this end, but down here is really nice. So I'm just going to edge this one a little bit closer to the heat, and yeah, so we'll come back probably in about maybe 20 minutes and check in on these, and then go from there. Alright guys, so I've let the sauce glaze and set on here in the Weber for about 40 minutes or so. Just went with one layer of glaze, didn't really go the second. But as you can see, these ribs are looking mighty, mighty fine. We're going to go ahead and look at cutting these up, just to cut them into their individual sections. So I'm using a serrated knife today. You just want to try and find where the bone is. Try and work out where it is and just slice along. Use the width of each rib as a guide. Try and slice along each like that. There we go. Making sure they're all separate. Yep, there we go. Remember, as I was saying before, if you bunch the ribs up, you can see that these little bumps might not be able to be picked up on the camera, but there's these tiny little bumps where you can actually see where you should be cutting, and that's going to sort of guide and assist you with making the right cuts. Trying to ensure you don't hit a bone, because when you're looking at, especially from a competition perspective, you want to make sure they're nice and even and nice and cut uniform. Cool. Little snag on the end there, but there we go. Cool. All right, so I'll just take it from this side here. All right, let's see, look at that. Nice and saucy, nice and good. Let's give it a bite. Awesome. All right guys, I'm gonna tuck into some of these for dinner. Hi guys, thanks so much for watching my video on baby back pork ribs today. As always, I'm on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube, so feel free to please like and subscribe if you want to see what I'm up to. And if you'd like to see me cook anything else, just get in touch. Thanks again for watching. All the best.